Hi, it's Charlie McCann and Stan James. Welcome to a preview of this weekend's sporting action. We begin with the Charlie Hall Chase. That's the big race of the weekend. Out weather, we could do with some rain, of course. The ground currently good to firm, good in places. Deep Purple is the 3-1 joint favourite with Tamara and Blood. Deep Purple, it was beaten at 4-6 on the corresponding fixture last year. If somebody told me then that this horse would be the joint favourite for the Charlie Hall in 12 minutes time, I'd have certainly taken him away. But he has improved. He's never won beyond 2.5 miles. He looked as the further he went, the better he went at Ayr last time. I don't think the coming back from a break is a problem. Evan Williams, of course, with state of play, likes this race, but I just don't think he'll stay. The one for me is What a Friend. He won 3 of 4 as a novice. Very impressed. I remember first time after Uttoxeter last season for What a Friend. He's owned in partnership by Sir Alec Ferguson, and I think we can forget his run in the RSA Chase at the Cheltenham Festival, because he wasn't himself. There's no question that he's better than that. Tamara and Blur also goes really well, fresh second in the Bedford Chase on his reappearance last season. I think he'll probably go off favourite for David Piper. He's only won one race over 3 miles, and that was at Perth. But I think it's a fascinating race. The two, Ollie McCann won the race on 2 previous occasions, and second last year, trying to give £10 to state of play from the Evan Williams yard. It's a fascinating race, but I think it would just be What a Friend for myself, only his 5th run over fences, and I think the one who is capable, I think, of improvement in his second year as a chaser. Go on to the soccer, and Arsenal, I think, can beat Spurs in the North London derby, the big one, 12:45 on Sky on Saturday afternoon. Arsenal really, I think, should be unbeaten so far in the Premier League season. They were lucky, arguably, at Manchester United and at Man City. Disappointing last week to give that 2-goal lead away to West Ham United. I was disappointed, must say. Arsene Wenger must be mellowing at 60, because there was no question that wasn't a foul for the first goal. In the lead up to the first goal, I'm not convinced it was a penalty either, but in the Arsene Wenger of old, maybe a bit more vociferous in his criticism of the referee, but Arsenal played some good stuff. They got back to winning ways against Liverpool, and I do think they'll beat Spurs, despite the fact Spurs themselves won the Carling Cup midweek. Very disappointing against Stoke last weekend. I think Arsenal will win. Bolton against Chelsea 4-9. Can't have them that price, only because you remember a couple of weeks ago at Wigan they lost 3-1. Haven't really appreciated their trips to Lancashire, and Bolton have beat Everton last week 3-2, arguably unlucky to lose to Liverpool 3-2 earlier in the month, and I think Bolton really deserve a bit more credit, and I think 4-9 is far too prohibitive for me. Burnley even money, massive game this against Hull, 3-1, 12-5 the draw. Could be Phil Brown's, I'm afraid to say, last game in charge, but he did wonders last year to keep Hull in the Premier League, but I think it's a bridge too far this season. Burnley, of course, lost their 100% home record last week. Everton, when you think like Osman, Pienaar, Arteta, Jagielka, Luis Saha went off injured midweek. This is a big opportunity, I think, for Aston Villa, 7-4 against Everton, 6-4 at Goodison on Saturday as well. I think this is my allegiance, of course, is with Everton, but I'm not convinced. I think the time is right for Aston Villa. They won at Goodison 3-2. Haven't beat them in the FA Cup last year, but they beat them 3-2 last season when they were in the middle of the wonderful run, Aston Villa. But I think they should return to winning ways, I'm afraid to say. They play also on Wednesday night at Aston Villa as well at West Ham in the Premier League. Pompey, I think, 7-5 against Wigan, 15-12, 12-5 draw, too close to call that. Liverpool's a fascinating game for me as well at Fulham. Fulham very difficult on their home turf, 3-1. Liverpool 10-11, 12-5 the draw. I think Liverpool did show against Manchester United. Okay, the cop won't be behind them. They won't have that wonderful special Anfield atmosphere, but I think they probably will have too much. Remember, Jose Bellingham scored in injury time last year. They deserve to win that as well. Sunderland 10-11 against West Ham, 3-1. I think Sunderland will win that, although it's a big week for West Ham United. They played 2 home games Premier League against Aston Villa and then Everton. And again, it could be a very good time to be playing Everton at the moment, so I expect West Ham to come up the table, maybe not from the Stadium of Light. We've also got the Volvo World Match Play continuing. Simon Dyson, I'm a big fan of Simon Dyson. I think he's got real grit. He's up against Henrik Stenson as I speak. Ross Fisher also would be. They're my 2 pre-tournament selections. Okay, I think I've just seen Fisher go 2 up in his match, but wonderful new course as well. I think, of course, as that we've got the WTA tennis events. We'll be betting, of course, until Serena and maybe Duentieva will play the final of that. Also the third ODI between India and Australia. India 8-11 versus even money Australia. And I think it's 1-1 in that series. Could be a very, very good series. I think this best of 7. And when you think Tendulkar or Sehwag haven't fired, maybe Ricky Ponting yet for Australia, I think there's certainly going to be some runs scored in these. But The big football match of the weekend is Arsenal. Arsenal didn't have much to do. A belated 60th birthday last weekend. It didn't go according to plan for the Gunners, but I think they'll get back to winning ways against Spurs. 8-13 the Gunners, that'll be the one. And remember, Lloyd's going out of X Factor at 5-2 on Sunday night.